Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another stream, guys. I'm your host and financial analyst for today's live market analysis webinar. My name is Akash, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. Welcome to another stream. Thank you very much for joining this session. Guys, let me tell you that this week, not only we will have a great trading ideas, but I think in the last week we had one of the greatest moments. We were talking about the market dynamics, and we will be continuing with the same analogy that we have applied into the last session. Let me just remove everything that I have applied on my screen. I will give you some broad market analysis for this week, and hopefully we will be able to squeeze some profit on the existing market analysis and the upcoming market news event as well. Welcome to the stream, and guys, let me tell you that today's stream, your feedbacks matters a lot. Please let us know how do you feel about the stream. And thank you very much for the overwhelming response we have received in the last week. I think a lot of you liked the last webinars. Let me know in the comment section what you seek in the upcoming webinars. What do you want us to talk about? We will be talking enough about the market sentiments, and the total trading ideas that we will be creating based on the major economic news event. As you all know, today's stream will be dedicated on the two part. The very first half will be dedicate on the part where we'll be discussing the previous analysis, the analysis that we made in the last week, and how did it turn out well for us or not, and what would be the trading ideas for this week. Okay, so some of you still will be facing some inconvenience regarding the theme. What we will do, we'll just change the theme from in here so that it won't be, difficult for you to watch it. So let me just change the theme to the light mode. It would be more convenient for you to watch the candle and everything all together. Guys, let me know in the comment section how do you feel about the stream? What are the different things that you wishes to know? And yeah, there was a poll that we were making, trying to understand, guys. Mr. Rishabh ji said your voice is low voice sound. I think I should be audible right now, Rishabh ji. Let me know in the comment section where you are able to hear my voice or not. Thank you, Rishabh ji, for thank you for correcting me, and welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. And yeah, guys, as we were talking about the part about your feedback. So let me know in the comment section what are the favorite things that you want as an all-home trade which I would add in the platform so that you would be, liking this webinar more. And in terms of understanding, if you can see what sort of new feature that you want in Olymptrade, may it be in the graph, may it be in the any form of indicator or oscillator, you may choose. Feel free to comment into the comment session. We'll be waiting for another minute for a few more clients to join. In case, guys, if you have any question, feel free to ask me your questions. I have another monitor where I'll be reading your comments, and at the same time, your problems may it be related with the deferred deposits or withdrawal, or may it be anything that you encounter. The comment section is all yours. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, and at the same time, we'll be talking about the market update. Embrace yourself because this week gonna be a lot of fun. Not only this week, but in the upcoming week. I have few more trading ideas. I'm working on one of the Excel sheet that I will be sharing into the next webinar. And there we'll be discussing the hypothesis of non-farm payroll. Now we'll be trying to know what non-farm payroll is and how it will certainly gonna impact to the market. And based on these numbers, so basically what we do is we analyze everything in the fundamental analysis based on numbers. Now, once we know how this number works, we can effectively able to predict in which direction the market candle will follow. So this is a new approach that I'll be teaching, and let me know in the comment section if you already have an expert status. You can schedule your personal session with the financial analyst. I have we colleagues are a big team. We can speak different languages. If you, in case you are interested to join the session, expert status or advanced status, you can go to the help option, have a personal session with us, and let us know how do you feel about that. Mr. Usman ji said, Mr. Khan, hello dear sir. news reading, please. Mr. Khan is one of my old guys. Welcome to the stream, Mr. Khan. So good to see you after a long time. Thank you very much for joining the stream. So, Mr. Khan just said news reading, please. So let's start with the news analysis, guys. If you remember last week, we talked about Fed interest rate decision. That was one of the biggest market analytical point of view, a very good moment. Now, I will share with you how did I executed the trade on that, and I'll give you my personal opinion how market could have been behaved and how it basically have behaved. So it will give us both the analogies in terms of the market analysis and the candlestick formation as well. Okay, so let's start our conversation. And guys, in the meantime, if you have any question, feel free to ask me your questions. I'll be more than happy. So let's start our session. So if you remember in the last week, let me show you economic calendar so that you will get a little clarity of thought from this situation. So this calendar, I have selected GMT of plus 5:30. This is according to Indian Standard Time. But in case if you don't know anything about it at all, let me know. I will have another session and where I'll be explaining you how to work out with the economic calendar based on the number of people who are willing to know about this, and we'll shall continue our session from that moment. Okay. So in the last week, one of the biggest major economic news event was released, and that was federal interest rate decision. In fact, there were two major economic news event lined up. The first one is the BOJ interest rate decision, which I would tell you what were the market sentiments. And the second one is Fed interest rate decisions. Now, let's just focus our entire attention on the interest rate policies. Now, Jeremy Powell takes the decision whether to increase or decrease the interest rate based on again a lot of economic events. So let's see how it basically impacted. So on 19th of March, Fed releases their interest rate decision exactly around 11:30 according to the Indian Standard Time and midnight 11:30. I'm talking about PM past meridian. So let's just check it together. We can select any USD pair if you may wish to see. In fact, I would love to show you on the Japanese yen. We'll see, and in terms of comparative point of view, we'll still gather some information. So here, exactly at 11:30, the Fed interest rate decision. So before the Fed interest rate decisions, we can see that absolutely the value of USD started crushing itself and pulling itself into the bullish sentiments. And as soon as the Fed interest rate decisions were released and we found out all the data, that means the interest rate decision wasn't being increased at all, it went to be equal. Once it did, the market started plumbing down. Now here comes a tricky part. While I was observing this data from last, let's just say about 2.5 years, I'm just very keenly observing this candle from a lot of times. And what we found out that whenever the USD prices started to rise down and when they decreases, it usually follows guys U-shaped pattern. You probably would not know about this, or if you do, let me know in the comment section. So USD started decreasing, and we know for sure it gonna follow the U-shaped pattern because the price which was closely around 150 act as a psychological level, we can also say that, and then it dropped down. As soon as this did, I was having conversations with a lot of my clients that there is a good possibility for USD JPY to rise, and in fact it did, guys. If you see, I did scalp my way out from median terms here. See, again, scalping is scalping really means that we should hold a position for a very short time and then exit our position. But imagine if we could have hold the position till now, our profitability would have been increased. Let's just suppose with the 100 multiplier, because of the multiplier that we have selected, our profitability would be closely equal to 100%. So that means if we had in the $100 and if we could have kept the trade alive, it would have given us more than 100% profit. That's the first analogy. So the U-shaped pattern, as I told you, a lot of time it did follows like that. Here, the market decreases and then started increasing. Another sign for a U-shaped pattern. So exactly this one, and then it goes down. This is a complete U-shaped pattern, which I have had the pleasure to share with the clients in the last session. So yeah, good to see about the market did work the way that we anticipated to be. Now let's move ahead, guys. I have another analogy that we have created a trading idea. So remember this: the value of gold has been keep on pushing itself in the upward direction. But what really happens, whatever the value it has gained so far, it is all-time highest value. Now, because of this factor, every asset when it reached its highest peak, there are always been corrections. Always been corrections. Correct? Once the asset reach one particular highest value, then some sort of correction happens, another corrections, another new string for an upward trend start to follow. If I'll switch the graph to 4 hours. Now, based on this, we can create an idea for this week, for this week. So I want your utmost attention on this. So whenever we see the value of gold increases to all-time highest level, it reaches, then correction, reaches again, then correction, reaches highest point, then again corrections, reaches the highest point, then again correction. So there are good chances that the correction can follow. But there is one thing for sure, there are good chances for this week gold has a high probability to rise once again. But when should we enter our trade? When should we see our trade? Mr. Yogesh ji said hi. Hello Yogesh ji, welcome to the stream after a long time. Good to see you. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make in here, there's a possibility that the correction can happen in gold anytime soon. Before it reaches its all-time level, 3,100. And to reach that, the chances are there that it will break above this level, but not really so. So what will gonna happen? There's a good chances for US gold to decreases. I want you to wait for gold to decrease, and the possibility to decrease in the price of gold can happen this week. It's just not a random trade, guys. It is based on this week analysis that I was doing. So in this week, the analysis may or may not work. But if we try to analyze both the situation, maybe whether it works in our favor or not, but using both these analogies, we can create a good entry for ourselves for the longer run. So let's get started. One of the biggest data lined up. I want your utmost attention on this. One of the biggest data is US. So every once in every 3 months, US releases its GDP. So if you can see this QOQ is written, that means it's quarter to quarter data. And this is fourth quarter data, right? That's the last quarter. So that means it can also include January. So usually the quarters you might know about this. So January, February, March, these three datas have been released on the very next month. So here quarter to quarter release means the gross domestic data usually releases once in every 3 months. But it is very difficult to predict the state of market based on quarter to quarter basis, and therefore US basically breaks this data into three segments: preliminary one, preliminary two, and the final data. Right now, if you see those two preliminary data are suggesting that the US GDP is somewhat close to 2.3, if we may see, and therefore this time the forecast value is suggesting that it can be close to 2.3%. Now, I believe US GDP might, based on the last 3 months statistics, can be equal or little lesser than what it has. If suppose, hypothetically, let's think from the hypothetical point of view, and then we'll jump to the more analytical part. Mr. Ravi Krishna ji said, hi, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Krishna. Welcome to the stream. Now, I will be giving you a good trading ideas. Let's create an idea on on something rigid. Correct. So we will try to understand the market again to one of the best extent. So let's do this analysis. I have one good trading idea. So let's do this. If hypothetically, if hypothetically, US GDP data turns out to be great. Let's think hypothetical situation. So that means US GDP is increasing, right? So it's basically calculated as C plus P plus I, or R we also call it as consumption plus investment. It's a bigger formula, like plus export minus import. So rather than focusing on the formula, let's try to understand what if the GDP is on the higher side? I mean, if the GDP is on the higher side, it's basically written in here. If the GDP is on the higher side, if the actual data is better than the forecast, well, good for currency, that means the good currency will rise. So let's take a hint from this case. There are good chances if the data for US GDP is on the higher side, although the chances are very slim, but we'll think about this possibility. There's a good possibility that it can rise. Correct? But how will it gonna impact gold? There are good chances the value of gold can decrease. Because we know for a fact that whenever the USD price increases, the value of gold decreases. And now if the gold price is started to decrease, we'll let it correct. And then from that situation, we can hold our position using a moderate set of multiplier. Again, this is a hypothesis, correct? What if market moved against us? What if the US data turns out to be red? The GDP is not increasing at all. Again, there are two trading events for you. If the US data turns out to be on the green, on the red side, I mean, it's on the decreasing side, USD will decrease. Again, what will increase? The value of gold will increase. Now, I want you to have your extreme attention on this. If the value of gold increases, it will try to break above this level. And even there are chances that it can go ahead with 3,100. But guys, let's just be clear about this. When the value of gold will try to increase close to 3,100, exactly, and when this gonna happen, this is gonna be happening exactly at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, in my opinion. Yeah, 6 o'clock GDP data. Now, if that is the time, if the value of gold increases, on what day it is happening? It is on 27th. So that means I think couple of days after. So if the value of gold increases, we will have a shorting position of gold. So exactly at 6 o'clock, if the value of gold increases, it will come close to level 3,000 or all-time highest level. It will try to break above this level. But there will be people who will be shorting their position because it is all-time highest level. So people always try to short their position from the highest price. So there's a possibility if the value of gold increases, there are chances for day after tomorrow. Yeah, there are good chances for day after tomorrow. Couple of days after, people will try to set their position on gold. And yes, you have to wait for this. You have to wait for this. And there's a very good point, Mr. Yogesh. I think, sir, gold waiting for 2nd April due to the Trump reciprocal tariff. So, yeah, eh, that's a great analogy. So, Trump was thinking about Mr. Trump, President Trump was thinking about increasing the tariff rate. But then, because of the market crash down, we can see that the value of Nasdaq and every major index in US started decreasing. But then the decision was made that they will be doing with some step. They will start with the reciprocal tariff first. So based on these guys, a good chances would be there if the value of gold decreases. We have both the hypothesis. On the very first hypothesis, we thought about the possibility that if the value of gold decreases, we can buy it on it because on after 2nd of April, we can see there will be a lot of buyers can come in for the shorter purpose. I mean, for shorting the position specifically for gold. If the value of gold increases on 27th of March, exactly at 6 o'clock, if the value of gold increases exactly at 6 o'clock, so we will have an opportunity to short our position for shorter time. Correct? We can open an opposite direction trend, short our position, and close our profit. So this is the hypothesis we made. So we are running our trades from both the perspective. Correct? If it is in our favor or if it is against our favor. In both the cases, we still will be able to make a good amount of profit. This is completely based on my idea. This is how I will be taking a trade, and hopefully I'll be showing you into my next stream in our next session. Absolutely. So that's the first analogy that we created out of it. Now, the second thing, if you remember, I was been quite persistent about one thing to share with you. I told you all guys there is a very good chances for Brent prices to rise, and finally it started rising amazingly. So what we are doing, we are just holding a position with 10 as a multiplier. And here, since we are holding our position with the 10 as a leverage, it's a good chances for Brent to rise. And it in fact did. Basically, I have received like around 10 or 12, 15th of email of the client where they were able to squeeze profit around 20 to 30%, which indeed worked for a lot of clients. And I hope if this trading idea would have worked for you, I'll be more than happy to read your comments based on that. I think I have some more comments. Mr. Prasad ji said, "Hello Akash sir, आपको देखा है real पे." Thank you, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Yogesh ji said, "Okay." Yeah, I hope you are getting my point. Mr. Prasad is one of my old clients and very good to see you. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Guys, again, my objective always has been to help my client to the best possible extent possible. Our what we gonna do is trying to understand again the market sentiments, and based on that we will be taking our trading ideas. So these were the trading ideas. The first one is like uh, I told you the GDP data will be releasing and it will be impacting the market to some good extent. May it be whether it will be favoring us, it's not, it's completely fine. Second thing is I was reading an analogy where the value of Bitcoin was stated. As you all know, that we have been holding position on Bitcoin from a very long time. If you look into my trading history, we have been holding our position from 28th of February, and still there are very good chances for Bitcoin prices to rise. Now, as we know, there will be little stability in the market because I think Mr. Trump would be taking some serious actions. All people views would be close to what they basically speak to media, and based on that the market will react on that, and therefore they will be quite you know speaking confidently, if I may say, and then speaking little less at times, because based on that events the market gonna react. So the market reaction is completely unfortunately as of now will be based on Mr. Trump analogy that we can see. Mr. Yogesh just said perfect entry. Thank you very much. So we have been holding position. This is what I've been stating to a lot of clients of mine from a long time. So yeah, here are the good events. And guys, let me know in the comment section what do you feel about today's stream. If you have any question, feel free to ask your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer. And what's your analogy, guys? What are you thinking about the market? Mr. Yogesh said any tips on Bitcoin? Now, in my opinion, what we did, guys, we always wanted to make sure that we are on the profitable front. So what I did, I just opened a trade and selected the very smallest value of multiplier to make sure that even if the market goes below the specific support level, which is 76, our trade will not close at all. So this may basically give us a great hope where we will be holding our position. So yeah, a lot of efforts have been done from the market and it will revive. So the correction in all we can say indexes, Nasdaq, S&P, Dow Jones have been there. They have recovered like around 3% of the market has been recovered from the last market collapse. It was one of the biggest collapse. We can see that around 10% of the market basically collapsed. Even for the Tesla corrected its price. So if you'll see right now the value of Tesla, yeah, let's get back to Tesla. Tesla lost more than 50% value, more than 50% existing value of it. So based on this, Tesla is available at the cheaper price, guys. And in case if you love taking stocks as an option, it's a good time to buy Tesla. You can buy Tesla, I mean, in my opinion, at the cheaper price, and the market will open like around 705. So yeah, the Tesla price has been decreased more than 50%. So good chances for the market to recovery will happen. So those people who love taking trades on even holding position on Tesla, there's a good possibility for it to rise. Again, this everything that I'm sharing with you is based on my experience. If you uh, if you want to follow it with your own discretion, guys. We talked about Tesla, we talked about Bitcoin, and yeah, one more thing regarding. I completely forgot about it, Mr. Yogesh. Thank you very much for reminding me in the comment section. So we know that Bitcoin is closely father of all the currencies, cryptocurrencies. If the price of Bitcoin rises, it will also gonna increase the price of all the alternative cryptocurrencies. Okay. So one thing for sure, it has broken above its logical level of resistance around 85. It has broken above this level. Now, once it did, there are good chances for it to increase up to 95,000. 95,000. So here, have a very closer look on the price of Bitcoin. There are good chances for the Bitcoin prices to rise in the upcoming trend, which I have been sharing with you from last month. Finally turned out profitable for us. Not only Bitcoin, but if you look into the price of Ethereum, it was very difficult for it to struggle. It was struggling to move over 2000. It first of all decreases, and then it was very difficult for us to hold above 2000 level. Then some sort of correction happened. But finally, once it has broken the psychological level of 2000, there are good chances for the Ethereum prices to rise as well. But if you remember, if they have a correlation of 0.85 beta correlation factor, we call it as. So that means even if the Bitcoin prices rises by 1%, it can increase the prices of Ethereum by a couple of more points of 2 to 3% as well. So these are all the trading ideas from my end. Let me know in the comment section what different ideas you guys have. And if you want to share something with me, I'll be more than happy. And again, guys, let me know in the comment section what do you feel what we will be talking about in the next session. I am very optimal about the next GDP results. And even though there is another results, I was observing the complete market analysis there. So let's do an analysis about ah, British Pound Consumer Price Index. This will also be releasing. And yes, it is again an inflationary tool to predict what sort of inflation is happening in British pound. And if it does, it will be hampering the performance of the British pound. So British pound is amongst one of the major player, which turned out to be in the last week profitable, to profit from the craziest market sentiments. So here, you see, a lot of people started their opening position on what? On alternative pairs. So we know that the value of USD depreciated of the statement which has been made by Mr. Trump. One of the highest pair which has made profit was British pound. British pound moved more than close to 4%. It's strengthened against USD. That's a great thing to see. Not only this, if you'll see the value of Euro USD, strengthen up a little, went to 1.09 level. And here, if you'll see, I have drawn down this resistance level, 1, 2, 3. So the price correction happens. So 1.09 level, 1.09 and 1.10 are a great level of resistance for the assets, for the assets like this. That's the reason we took the trade. We were basically marked it, and from that, the same moment, the market plumbed down. So yeah, these were the trading ideas from my end. I hope you liked today's stream. Let me know in the next session which possible stream do you want to explore. We still will be talking about the market. Hopefully, we will have a greater trading ideas. Not only this, as I told you, I am working on a special Excel sheet, which I'm very optimistic about completing in this week. If I had, everything falls in the favor, I will be sharing this Excel sheet with you, and based on that, we will try to determine in which direction the non-farm payroll high probability. I mean, in which direction the US dollars has to increase or decrease based on the non-farm payroll results, which will be released on the very next week, that is on the next month itself, on the first Friday, and we can see the impact, and we'll try to evaluate what could be the different parts where it has, enlightened the market. In case if you have any question, feel free to ask me your questions. Thank you very much for having us. Unfortunately, the time running like out like anything. The best thing about this guy, I like having conversation with you. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So thank you very much for staying ahead with me. I'll be coming up with few more trading ideas into the next session, and I'll be personally sharing these details with you. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Akash, and I'll be signing off from today's stream. See you guys into the next week.